Well, latest polling shows the National Party continuing to strengthen its numbers, both in party support and preferred leadership. To discuss the Taxpayers Union poll and other matters, I'm joined by ACT Party leader David Seymour. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning, Bernadine.
This is the second poll to show National in front of Labour, with Te Pāti Māori as kingmaker. How are you seeing these numbers tracking? ACT is dropping. How does that sit with you?
Well, I mean, if you take this poll, ACT went up 5 last time and down 2 this time, so I'd say we're going up. I think what really matters is that we've got a poll that shows the government is going to change, and ACT is going to play a very significant part in any new government. We're actually polling higher than the last election, which was a record for us and very good for any third party. I think the real question that people will be looking at is, OK, if the government is going to change, will the change be real? Because for people who actually don't like the direction Labor's taking us in, we can't afford to have the next few years, if a government does change, spent bedding in Jacinda's ideas the way that John Key basically bedded in Helen Clark's ideas over 9 years. So ACT's going to be saying, look, if we've got a cost of living crisis, if it's caused by excessive government spending, we've got to look at what we can actually commit to doing about that to reduce pressure on people who are being squeezed from every angle. If we've got a quiet change in our constitutional arrangements, we've got to ask what we're actually going to do to get back to one person, one vote, equality in New Zealand democracy. So I think it's a question of, the trend is the government's going to change, but to what? And that's where ACT has a lot to say.
Well, you talk about the cost of living, and it's interesting, the breakdown of these numbers. National's got increased support, but it's where their support lies that's interesting. It seems to be the female voters that they're picking up on. Do you think this might be due to the increased cost of living and females being the big spenders in households?
Well, anyone can speculate. I think what we know is that people of both genders are saying, I go to the petrol pump, I go to the supermarket, everything I try to do, the price has gone up. But the real price that's gone up is actually housing, where everybody's affected. You look at the increases in rent, interest rates now going up. People are just being squeezed from every direction. And the other thing that both genders do is pay a lot of tax. And that's why ACT's saying, look, we actually need to ask, what are we doing with all this extra money? We've gone up 14,000 bureaucrats. I'm not talking police, I'm not talking nurses, I'm not talking teachers, I'm talking back office people in Wellington, 14,000 extra people under Labor. The first thing we should do is go back to the number of bureaucrats or public servants that we had in Wellington 4 years ago, because I don't think New Zealand was that bad a place then. I don't see what extra value we're getting. We could save 1.2 billion of government spending by going back to the number of bureaucrats we had in 2017 when things weren't actually that bad. That's something that Adrian Orr is now helpfully saying. If we want to get the cost of living crisis under control, then we've got to get government spending under control. And I think this government has spent far too much. They've slushed far too much money around in the economy. That's driving inflation. And that's why people are under pressure in so many areas.
All right, so let's talk inflation. We're expecting an announcement this morning. It's highly tipped to peak at 7%. Grant Robertson's already said we have not seen the peak. Are you talking bureaucracy? Are you talking about cuts in that area as a quick fix?
Well, there's going to be no quick fix, because this is built up over 2 years of excessive spending, where Labor said that COVID is absolutely everything and forgot about every other priority that New Zealand has had. But I would start by looking at the growth in bureaucracy, the growth in expenditure, the growth in waste, and say, actually, we could afford to give the average worker back $2,000 by cutting the middle income tax rate straight away. That would give massive relief for people who are working, because at the moment, Labor's only idea for reducing pressure on families is to hand out more money, when actually government spending is one of the things that is driving inflation. So we'd start letting people keep more of their own money, $2,000 on the average full-time worker that they get to keep in order to fight this cost of living crisis that's squeezing the middle from every angle.
All right, just finally, Anzac Day on Monday. We're all looking forward to another long weekend. Public holiday for us. You're looking forward to Matariki 2 in June?
Look, it's a question of priorities. I mean, who isn't looking forward to a day off? But we've got, from a point of view of an employer, 4 weeks annual leave, now 10 days sick leave, now 11 public holidays. We're not going to get ahead when you have a government whose biggest priority is new public holidays. I'm really pleased to see that the Nats have started taking the position that we took last year. If you're going to have an extra public holiday, then you need to remove one of the ones you've already got, because people just can't afford Labor's continued indulgence.
Yes, I think Mr Luxon's come out saying he was facetious in saying get rid of Labour Day, but I do appreciate it is coming at a great expense for small business. ACT Party leader David Seymour, thanks for your time.
Thank you.